Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Howdy everybody, and welcome to COTA here in the beautiful USA. I am Austin Knight. I am joined by Nick Allflatt. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm alright, mate. How are we doing in your home race this evening? So expect Austin to be even more animated than he usually is.
I am very excited here today. A lot of stuff is going to down. Some champions may be crowned, but certainly there is going to be a battle all around.
Yes, indeed. Nameless, the one of the Ferraris that's here tonight, he needs 6 World Championship points this evening. If he gets those 6, he will claim the driver's title. So keep an eye out for him as we go through the qualifying session and, of course, the race.
Yes, he does, and his championship rival of Kimi Larson will actually not be here today, so it's all on Nameless's shoulders to score those 6 championship points. How does he score those 6 championship points? If he finishes 7th or higher, he will win the World Championship for the F2 tier.
So, very exciting stuff in order to come tonight, I should think.
Exactly, and without further ado, let's take ourselves around the lap of Circuit of the Americas, commentated by me for once. Howdy everyone, my name is Austin Knight, and we are on board with Formula Danny here at the wonderful Circuit of the Americas. First corner is up this massive hill, I sometimes call him Phil, hard on the brakes and into the apex, and then immediately onto the throttle and down through turn 2. Under the bridge and into the American S's of 3, 4, and 5. Turn 6 is a long right-hander. Keep those reds up because it sets you up for the sharp left-hander of turn 7. Up the hill and to the right of turn 8, and then across the blind turn 9. Blink, you don't miss it. Here's turn 10. Down this little short chute we go. Up into turn 11. Hard on the brakes, slamming it into the apex. And then immediately onto the throttle and down this over half a mile. Back straight, taking these wonderful Texas views, sinking in, best place on earth. But wait, harder on the brakes. It's turn 12. Flip that apex and enter the arena. It's turn 13. Bunch of slow corners in here. Make your moves right. Turn 14. Clip the apex at turn 15. Wide entry. Hard on the brakes. Turn 16. Down and around the tower we must go of the multi-apex corner of turn 17 and 18. Say hello to the fans over on Haas Hill. Slamming into turn 19. Down this little short chute we go into the last corner. Keep it right, keep it tight. It's turn 20 and across the line. And that is a lap around Circuit of the Americas. Thank you, Formula Danny, for that wonderful lap he gave us. Nick, anything you want to say before we head into qualifying?
Yeah, just as I say, it's obviously we've unfortunately not got as many drivers as we normally have. There's 12 drivers here tonight. Others of course have various reasons for not being here. But yeah, just a reminder to keep in the back of your minds the Nameless Championship fight. He needs 7th or above. He's actually just gone across the line to complete his first qualifying lap, and is currently sitting last of the runners that have actually completed a lap at the moment. He set a 1:31. ERL Hyper's currently on pole with a 1:30.6.
Alright, well let's stop talking about stats and let's go live here at Circuit of the Americas. and sorry if you heard that. I am extremely sorry. And we are live here in Circuit of the Americas. We're currently following Marco Krisman as he comes around the arena. Turns 15 and 16 right now. Very tricky corners. We've seen a few cars spin out right here and have a few unfortunate retirements. And across this multi-apex corner of turns 17 and 18. In front of Haas. So I feel like I'm doing that hot lap video again. I keep remembering it.
Yeah, I had the same thing at Silverstone. You sort of just kept repeating all the corner names.
Right.
Marco Krisman there going 5th. Currently, I'm on board with Mr. Anchor, who is actually coming on to a bit of traffic, actually. And, oh, there's actually contact between the Red Bull and the Toro Rosso.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's Ipioni going sideways off the track. Very, very strange stuff indeed there. Mr. Anchor just wanted to go into the corner. Ipioni sort of tried to give him the room, and then the apex just closed on the both of them. That's completely wrecked both of their qualifying laps there. Very, very strange stuff indeed between the two of them.
Well, you know how I said there was a lot of contact in that session when we were following Marco Krisman? There it is.
Indeed, there it is. VP Max, I think, is about to possibly finish a lap. He's on the super softs, which is contrary to most of the other runners so far. We're going on the ultra softs. I assume then that we're probably going to have a dry start to the race, but of course things could change. But yeah, of course, we've had a recent patch to the game, which is going to change slightly how it's changed the tyre temps and kind of changed the strategies, really. You can take the ultra softs now actually a lot further into the Grand Prix than originally thought, so I would expect most of the drivers to be qualifying on those ultra soft tyres and then use the one stop to finish off on the softs.
Yeah, the original pit strategy was to start on the super softs and go to the softs like our little handy graphic says right here. But the super softs would originally take you from 8 laps to 11 laps, and then you'll go on to the soft tires for around 16 to 18 laps, and that will take you to the end, and that is the original thing. We might see some ultra soft runners try to go around 8 laps on the ultra soft, so...
Well, I mean, from what I saw this morning in Oceania, people were taking ultra softs to lap 10 or 11, so quite comfortably we could see a one-stop ultra soft to soft this afternoon, or indeed, some people might even go super softs to around lap 16, 18, and then just take a set of ultra softs to the end. Of course, if they're not having any qualifying running on them, it should be fairly easy to do that one-stop strategy. So that should be the kind of thing we'll be looking out for once we get to the race. But we're not there yet. We're still on qualifying. Looks like a number of drivers have gone back into the pits, having done their first qualifying lap.
Yeah,
currently stands with... No, you carry on.
Max, he's coming through the final 2 corners right now, right in front of Haas Hill, actually. It's actually a very fun spot to watch a race from that hill, as Max is going into the pits right now.
Yeah, I think most of the drivers are currently either on in-laps or have finished, or either on in-laps or out-laps or are in the pits. I think anyone's actually on a flying lap at the moment.
Mr. Anka's on an out-lap, but he's not. Hypers, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, Hyper's currently on pole position as it stands, 130.6. Then it's very close, only less than a tenth of a second, splitting second, third, and fourth. Then we go down to VSR Collis, Marco Krisman, nameless, of course. Remember, he's currently sitting in that 7th place that he needs, though I expect he'll want to qualify much higher than that to secure his championship this evening, I should say. Then Max, Ipioni, Smeege, Nebula and Mr. Anchor yet to set a time. Mr. Anchor and Ipioni, of course, getting involved in that collision earlier on in the qualifying session, both still running, thankfully. Hyper's then coming through the final corner up the hill now. Is he going to better his previous effort? Getting a bit squirrely out of the final corner. Yes, 130.4.
He just barely is improved right there, but hey, any small gap is any gap you need. Well, let's go on board with the Red Bull of Mr. Anka as he starts his flying lap out of turn 20. Very less chaotic than Hyper's his last corner. It's so very different, this very last corner. It's a 90-degree. You think you can take it easy, but any small bit of oversteer just completely wrecks your lap. As you'll find it as we go through the American S's right here. These S's, not like Maggotts and Beckett's, but they're modeled after them. But you can take these things pretty much flat out.
Yeah, and it just shows the variety of driving styles that we have in this league. Hypers tends to be someone who pushes the car more to the ragged edge, will go for the complete edge of grip, try and go right to the edge, and you know, sometimes you might make the odd mistake, but in general tends to be very quick. And then you'll have the smoother drivers, the ones that will still be pushing, of course, but will aim for nice clean lines rather than pushing the car right to that ragged edge. So they look a little bit nicer, but sometimes they're fast, sometimes they're not as fast. It just depends on what driving style fits the way you drive, basically. So it's nice to see a variety of styles in this league. That's VSR Collis just going into second place, 2.5 tenths behind ERL Hypers.
Collis driving for McLaren. Been having a good time after he's came into the league. Let's hop back over to Mr. Inca right now. As he has turned 20 and way less oversteer that Hypers had, and Mr. Inca comes over into 6th place as that bumps Nameless down to P8.
So Nameless currently outside of that top 7 finish that he needs to get the World Championship title. ERL Esports in the chat there giving their support towards their drivers here this evening. Got 2 of them, of course. We've got Hypers currently sitting on pole position, and Matthias, the other Red Bull, Mr. Anker's teammate, currently in P4 as he's going through the S's at the moment. And Soren, of course, has... What? Sorry? Wow, yeah, Soren.
Yeah, Soren popped up to P2, but look at that gap between Hypers and Soren. 900th of a second right there.
Very, very close indeed. So, very nicely done so far. Expecting the likes of Nameless, Max, Epione all to come out and do better laps, though. I've just been on board with Epione, and on his out lap, he completely took a different line towards turn 1, so very interesting. Smeege is just starting a flying lap as he goes up the hill towards turn 1.
While you were saying that, I was watching Matthias and Mr. Inca do a little slipstream down this long half-mile back straight, and they were moving it down there. Both got out.
AOR Nebula about to come across the line, slots into P3 in the Haas. Very good lap from AOR Nebula.
I'm going to try to be not biased towards him. It's just a factor. When I see a Haas on COTA, I cheer for the Haas. So I'm going to try that. But Matthias sets it into P3. 700ths of a second behind Hypers.
Make that P2, in fact. So very, very close now.
P2,
less than a tenth of a second between the top 3. It is getting very, very close between those top 2. And of course, ERL Esports will be very delighted. They've currently got a 1-2 at the moment with their 2 drivers.
And we saw the same thing in Japan, actually. The top 3. All of them within 1/10 of each other.
Just shows how close the running is in this split 2 tier. On board with Smeege now. He's just coming through the final couple of corners. Now up the hill towards the final corner now. Where's he going to slot himself? Oh, extremely wide out of that final corner. And that was an invalidated lap. It was a 1:30.7, which would have put him in 5th place, or possibly 6th place.
Well, Smeege has 4 minutes to get around another lap, but as we were talking about tires, I think there might be some rain on this. What the heck, Smeege?
Is he going all over the place?
He just straight lined the S's. And I know.
Well, he wants to get back to the pits more quickly, I think.
I know he wants to get back so quickly, but come on, Smeege.
Making his own lines here.
I know COTA is sometimes joked as the quarter-cutting capital of the world, but in qualifying there are still track limits. During the race, not so much.
We'll have to see. Big lock up from Ipione there as he just comes into this tricky stadium section. Very tricky corners. I don't like driving them personally. A lot of got to really manage the wheel spin out of these corners, particularly this sort of double apex left-hander as he now comes out through the long right-hander, flat all the way through here. He has dropped it down to 0 ERS though, so I expect he may well be coming into the pits, or he's about to start a flying lap. No, he's about to start a flying lap indeed, so keep our eyes on him.
Now, another interesting thing, this massive turn 1, the gravity does braking for you, so it's very confusing sometimes on where you have to brake. You brake much later than what your body tells you to. Because I've driven this track in real life. Like, you want to slam on that brake farther, but gravity just handles that for you, and these S's are extremely fast. Never driven this in the actual F1 car. I've driven this in the F4 car, but, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive either way. I'm currently on board with the championship leader, Nameless, who is just going through those S's. He's done a 24 for his first sector, which I don't think it's too bad. We'll have to see how he gets on as he's going down the hill towards the hairpin now in the middle of sector 2. Let's see how he takes it. No lock-up. Nicely done from our championship leader, and accelerates out of there now, but I think he might have actually invalidated the lap, actually, as he's on 0 ERS at the moment, unfortunately for him. And he's not got too long to set a lap.
It looked like on his exit of turn 9, he went all 4 wheels off the track and while he was setting up for turn 10, and that will invalidate your lap as Muller sets the new fastest lap of a 1:30.
Pole position for VSR Muller, 30.3. Ipioni's about to finish a qualifying lap. He might have just invalidated though on that penultimate corner. We'll have to see as he comes through the final one now. Gone a little bit wide out of that corner as well. No, he's not invalidated. It goes up into P7 with a 30.9.
That pushes Nameless down to P10, and Nameless has one more corner to go on 5 ERS. He's got Marco Crimson right behind. Marco Crimson sends it up the inside, and they make contact!
Oh my god.
Marco Crimson was on a flying lap, and Nameless didn't even see him. Nameless has him. This is Nameless's flying lap right now. Oh my goodness.
That's the end of Nameless's qualifying. Wow, I literally just caught the end of that. That was extraordinary. So, your championship leader, who needs to get P7, will be starting at the best from P10. Max will be wanting to improve. He's currently on an outlap. Smeege also on an outlap. And those two are wanting to beat him. So, wow.
I'm
okay.
Actually speechless. I saw that coming. I just see Marco Crimson coming out of nowhere. He sends it up the inside and just banged wheels together and just sent Nameless wide as he was setting that up. Oh my gosh.
Very, very peculiar goings on indeed
Nameless,
in this qualifying session.
You couldn't make this drama up. Nameless has to finish in P7 and starting from P10. He can make up a lot of moves into turn 1 at the start, but how risky do you want it going into there? Because pack racing in the back through COTA, through those S's, is very violent, as Fernando Alonso would definitely tell you.
Time finished then in this qualifying session. VSR Collis improves slightly, but unfortunately for him remains in P6. We've got Muller, who hasn't got any more chances left to improve his time. So we'll have to see if that time can be beaten. AOR Hype's going through the middle of Sector 2. He's currently 0.003 of a second down on his previous times. He's going to have to try and find some time in this final sector now. That says there are currently yellow flags in it. I hope that doesn't mean someone else has crashed. Let's have a look. Matthias, wow, 34,000ths of a second in P2 now. That's demoted Hypers down to P3. Is Hypers going to be able to get up there between the two, or even possibly take pole out of the final corner?
Very crazy. What is he doing?
He's actually lost some time there. I think he's flooring it out of that final corner. VSR Collins is currently stopped in the middle of the S's there. That's very strange indeed.
He's probably on the field.
And possibly. As we're going to see what drivers are left. Smeege coming through the final corner, currently in P12. Is he going to improve his time at all?
Yes. P8.
P8. So, good bit of improvement at the end from Smeege.
But the main story here is Nameless. He's starting in 11th, I believe.
Most likely, yes. We'll have a little look in a second when the actual grid comes up. But yeah, that will be P11. Then indeed it is for Nameless.
And here are your qualifying results. It is Muller starting on pole, followed by Matthias, Hypers, Nebula, Soren, Collis, Mr. Anka, Smeege, Ipany, Marco Crisman, Nameless in 11th, and followed by VP Max.
Wow. What? I haven't seen a more action-filled qualifying session, I think, in this league at all. I know I've not been to every race, but that was an absolutely crazy qualifying session.
And
so,
if Japan was anything to go by, this certainly won up Japan in every single way
We've got fans of Nameless and Muller in the chat. Oh my
God.
word, it's absolutely raining.
It's flashback to 2015. I was at this race.
I mean, we've currently got a storm in the UK at the moment, and the storm has migrated over to the COTA track right now. That is absolutely...
This is one
something-ing it down that I can't say, but yeah, it's raining cats and dogs, as we'd say in the UK.
It is one Texas-sized rainstorm, and it's not a normal Texas-sized rainstorm, because those come and go within 5 minutes. This one looks like it's lasting the entire race. That explains why everyone was starting on the Ultra Softs. So, as we wait for everyone to come back, we'll be right back after these messages. And we're back live here in COTA in this massive wet rainstorm. Everyone on the wet tires. The big story is Nameless starting in the wet in 11th place, as I think I just saw somebody crashing through the S's.
Really?
Either that was somebody just straight lining the S's, or
I mean, VP Max is well off the pace, but he is in last place anyway. So I'm not sure what happened there. But either way, yeah, as Austin said, we had a pretty crazy qualifying session. If you've just joined us, there was at least 2 or 3 accidents, as in drivers actually hitting each other during the session. One of those affected was Nameless, VSR Nameless, currently starting in P11. If he finishes P7 or above today, he will win the Drivers' Championship. He's certainly got his work cut out.
He certainly does have to work for out. An eye for the dramatic, and certainly qualifying position counts all here in the wet. We were talking about pit strategy of super softs, and maybe the new patch made it a ultra soft to soft, but I now know why it was ultra softs. Everyone was just going on them. It was a full wet start here. It may go off near the end, but Bowler taking pole, followed by Matthias, very close to each other. Hypers was very close to them as well, but all eyes are on Nameless, and he's starting behind the man who invalidated his last chance effort. That was Marco Chrisman, who came out of nowhere and bumped him off of the track and into the wall after the start-finish line. Well, actually before. It just ruined everything about his upcoming run, and you can tell there's certainly some strong words he's feeling about it, but his championship rival of Kimi Larson is not here today, so it should be very interesting to see on what happens on this wet start here in the best place to watch a race in Texas at Circuit of the Americas.
So the grid is about to finish lining up. And here we go then. It's 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in COTA. And after quite a long hold, we are away. It appears to be quite a decent start. The McLaren of Collis looks to be making a good start as he goes towards the turn 1. That's Muller going all over the place. Hypers and Matthias are going to go side by side into turn 1. There's a massive Constantina effect through there. Are the drivers all going to make it through? The Haas of Nebula is in the wall.
And so is Marco Chrisman.
It's Chrisman. 2 drivers there in the wall as I cut back to the front, and it looks like everyone is okay for the time being. Collis has made a good start. He's got himself up into P5. Soron's gone up the grid as well. Hyper's up to P2. Nameless is already in P8. He's had a fantastic start in that Ferrari, helped, I'm sure, by the fact those 2 guys, Marco Chrisman and Nebula, who started P4, is all the way down at the back of the field. And we're going to have, Collis is going to have a look up the inside, possibly, of the Force India of Soron. Yeah, and he's made that move stick. Very nicely done by the McLaren.
And Nameless up also on the inside of Ipany as they go down this long back straight. Now, I was watching Nameless go off of the line, and he was much smoother than everyone else. Immediately as the lights go off, he's already gained 2 places on Marco Chrisman, and he sends it up the inside for Ipany. This is for P7. He needs to be in this position to claim the championship. Ipany and Nameless are banging wheel to wheel as they enter 3 to Ipany sends it up the inside into turn 13. Nameless looking for the switchback move. Going around into turn 15. Here comes Nameless around the outside. Can IPD hold him off? They're still side by side going through there, but Nameless pushes it up into P7. If the race were to end right now, I hope it doesn't. Nameless will win the championship.
Unbelievable stuff. Nebula and Marco Grisman now 10 seconds off the pace near the back of the field. Unfortunately for them, I think both of them have lost their front wings. Muller then going across the start-finish line, leading the Grand Prix. He's got 1.5 seconds, nearly 2 seconds now, to Hypers in second place. His ERL teammate Matthias in third place, getting very close to him actually. I think they go for a move up the inside of turn 1. Not quite. The interval deceived me there. I thought they were going to make a move. Then it is Collis and Sohom in P4 and 5. Smeege in 6th. Nameless in 7th at the moment. The place he needs to be to win the Drivers' Championship this evening.
And Nameless not really making any moves on Smeege. He is a second behind. Let's switch to Soren, and he's fallen extremely behind of Collis, who is on the rear end of Matthias, and he might be looking for a move as they make their way around turn 9 to 10. And I watched the race from this corner in the wets in 2015 in qualifying, where everyone was just spinning out of this corner. And look at Collis setting up the inside on the hairpin, but he gets a bit of a tank slapper. Matthias had the better exit. They're having a little drag race here in Texas. Can I get a yeehaw in chat? Because here we go.
Slingshotting down the back straight is the McLaren. He's not quite close enough to get the move done on this occasion, but the Red Bull goes deep into the corner. Is he going to have a chance? Round the outside, maybe try the switch back. He's gone straight onto the power. There's just not enough width in terms of the road room, but he's gone straight up the inside there. That's going to be dangerous. But no, they both managed to keep the car on the track. Very, very good control indeed. I don't know about you, my interval timing is going absolutely everywhere at the moment.
I'm not even paying attention. Look at Collis and Matthias side by side through the multi-apex tower corner as they fly through Haas Hill right there. I'm certainly the fans there are deeply upset at the starting incident with Nebula. But yeah, my timing screen is a bit bonkers right now, but it should be fixed right now.
Oh, Matthias going everywhere trying to defend from Collis. He's going to have another go as they go up the hill into turn 1. Collis dives it up the inside. Matthias trying to defend, but he's not quite able to. Which one is going to get the better run? As we head now towards turn 2, the McLaren sweeps around the outside and makes the move stick. That is VSR Collis now in an ERL sandwich as he moves himself up into P3. Very nicely done indeed from the McLaren. Wonderful move, and I think it looks like he's got that P3 secured now.
Temporarily secured, I must say, because, you know, Matthias does have that long back straight to slipstream up to him, but Collis is just so dominant through these areas. He's been moving up a storm in this storm.
It is definitely a storm. I'm just on board with drivers as they exit the...
Nameless is Smeege, side by side.
Yeah, side by side.
Oh,
who's going to win? The Ferrari and its baby brother. Looks like Smeege has got it for the time being. They're still going side by side. Nameless going to have the inside for this corner. I think he's broken a little bit earlier than Smeege. Smeege covers it, almost runs into the back of Sohon, but he makes that move done. He holds off the P6 for the time being. Nameless trying to get away up the inside, but there's nothing doing.
I think Nameless broke early because he didn't want to risk his front wing. As I'm riding on board the T-Cam, I can't see a darn thing through here. And Smeege sending up the inside of Soren. We saw that end up very badly for Ipany in the qualifying session. You just get that back end out just a tad bit, your car goes spinning like a merry-go-round.
They're going side by side. The T-Cam's running a lovely view right now as we go into the left-hander. Smeege is forced to take a slightly inside line. And Sohon goes up onto the curb. Smeege trying to make his way around the outside of the final corner, which is a very, very tricky way to make a move. But now, can they get on the accelerator well? Smeege has had a pretty good run, actually. Let's have a look and see what he can do. He's going to line himself up for a move as we start lap 4. On the inside of turn 1. Smeege is going to not make it stick initially as they're still going side by side, but it looks like he is going to make it stick around the outside. Nameless is watching these two battling and trying to make sure that they don't take him out. That's the last thing he wants right now, as he's just holding back. 7th, he's done enough at the moment, but the visibility is atrocious on board with these drivers at the moment.
Yeah, we've seen Nameless take some very aggressive lines before, but in these conditions, and with the championship on the line right here, he does not want to take any risk, even though he can take all the risks that he wants because his championship rival is not here today. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's like, do you want the easy win, or do you want to fight your rival for the actual battle? And I'm pretty sure all the competitive showmen in us want to do that as they fly down this long back straight. We might see Nameless try something on Smeege right here. Like, Nameless try something on Soren. They both start with S. I got confused.
Not quite. Smeege is holding out, is leading this group of
oh
three.
My goodness!
Oh, Nameless up the inside. That's a late move. Well, 7th is certainly not enough for Nameless in his eyes. Is he going side by side with Soren all the way through? Around the outside of this corner, it's who's going to have the better acceleration.
His back end is dancing
got it
around.
for P6.
His back end was dancing around like a square dance, but he's held that off, and he's got a P6. And my voice is completely gone.
Your voice is literally going, and I'm not surprised. This race is the one that will take away people's voices. This is unbelievable scenes as we start. It's only lap 5 of 28. There is a long way still to go. Marco Krisman unfortunately picks up the first penalty of the afternoon, so that is an award he can take away, and it's not the one he wanted, I'm sure.
All right, how's my voice? Is it not?
I mean, it's a voice. We're still there. We're still going. This is excellent stuff.
All right.
So, first place, Muller is getting a nearly 5-second gap now to Hypers in second. What's going on there? I think it's Marco Krisman, and Nebula is going very, very slowly. I think he's caused that yellow flag there through sector 3. Mr. Anker and Ipioni have not made a move on each other. I'm not quite sure why. The game is tricking me here as I'm trying to follow the intervals to look for battles. But yeah, so we have Muller in first, Hyper second, Collis still holding third for the time being, Matthias in fourth, Smeege and Nameless are currently battling for 5th place. Let's get on board with the Ferrari and see if he can do anything down at this long back straight. He's got pretty much a full bar of VRS to use, but he's not really closing on Smeege, who's using overtake mode, and Nameless drops it down into number 1, but he gets very close there under braking. Slight lock up, but he's not quite close enough to make a move on this occasion.
You see the puddles of water on the track. You do not want to put your car in those puddles, because those are just deadly right there. As we see that dry line form up, we see Nameless sending it up the inside right there on Smeege, side by side on the arena exit, but no, it's going to be Smeege holding that off through the multi-apex corner. And I'm driven here in the wet, and I'm going to tell you, there is no grip on this track when it rains.
Nameless just wants to show everyone why he should be awarded the Drivers' Championship here today. He only needs P7, but that is not enough for him, as he's going to probably have a go now at Smeege. Though it looks like Smeege has still got a good exit as Collis makes a move for Hypers for P2. The McLaren sends it up the inside of the Williams through turn 1. Collis has really got that car nailed or dialed, and I combined the two. Really got it dialed in at the moment, and he takes that P2, but Muller's lead now goes up to 6 seconds.
Yeah, and now Matthias has a wall of water in his face, which he had a clear race so far. But now he has that wall of water from Collis right ahead of him, and that's going to be affecting his strategy and visibility, and he might drop back from Collis, and he actually has, and he's almost an entire second behind of the McLaren right there, and he might be sitting in third for a while. Let's switch back to the fight between Nameless and Smeege as they enter this natural amphitheater hairpin. They come out
it's a lot of wheel spin from Nameless out of that hairpin corner. I think Smeege has got the acceleration out of these corners a little bit more dialed in at the moment. Nameless just trying to accelerate just that little bit too hard, and that's why he's not getting up. But there's a battle behind for VP Max on battle for P7. They're getting so close, these two. What a wonderful helicopter cam I've got right now looking at this battle. VP Max, Ipioni and Mr. Anker also battling further behind. Oh, and here goes Max up the inside. Really nicely done. Absolute send it move. That's P7, absolutely. Oh, Soren's back up the inside. Oh, is there contact? This is unbelievable racing between the two of them. We got a still side by side as they come to the second to last corner. And VP Max has just about held that. So I'm going to have a look through the final corner.
No.
He's possibly going to try and set himself up for a move down the back straight. That was wonderful driving between the two of them.
Wow.
I expected one of them to go straight into the wall as Mr. Anker pits from P10 with our first pit stop of the Grand Prix. Maybe he picked up some damage as he was battling with Ipioni, as that's a very early pit stop. Massive lock-up from Songhon as they go into turn 1, and that means he's dropped back off from Max slightly now.
I think Mr. Anker lost a bit of his front wing, and that's why he's gone to the pits. Yeah,
that would explain that.
Yeah, and also that's the third pit stop. Nebula and Marco Crispin were also in the pits earlier this race.
Yeah, of course.
This is our first non-chaos started pit stop that we could see. But Smeege, Nameless, and Matthias all in this three-way pack. Nameless setting up the inside of the hairpin once again. Now, who's going to get the better traction off the exit? Smeege, they're all drifting around. I think Nameless has got it, but look at Smeege. He's got the draft from
Smeege
Matthias.
getting the draft from Matthias, yeah. Oh, he's going to get very close now because Smeege has got the draft, but he's going to need to find somewhere to pull in to break for this corner. He might even have to try and make a move on Matthias to try and keep it going, and he does.
Oh, no.
Nameless takes a huge penalty line through there. He's completely gotten that corner wrong. And he's picked up a 3-second time penalty there straight away. But yeah, Matthias. Oh no, Matthias doesn't hold full. Smede's trying to go up the inside. He's not going to get a good run out of that corner, no, so he keeps it in 5th for the time being. But now we have to bear in mind Nameless with that 3-second penalty, which I think is only the second penalty we've picked up so far. I'll just double check as I go through the race director. Yeah, it is Marco Krisman. Oh no, Marco Krisman, Songhon and Nameless all have penalties at the moment.
Yeah, Smede's trying to do what Soron did. No, Smede's trying to do what Max did, but didn't have enough speed, and Matthias had that door kind of open, but in not the open area, because Smede set that fully, he would have made contact with Matthias, and that would have ended very badly. It might have collected Nameless up in that collision. So smart racing by Smede to not go fully for that. As we got 20 laps left. As
Soron's falling way back the field now, battling with Ipioni for P8. Ipioni initially had the move done, but Soron's gone back through, and Soron's falling back to the field at the moment, as is Hypers. He's now 3 seconds behind the McLaren of Collis, who in P2 now is just about keeping up with race leader Muller, who has got a very clear run at the moment and using it to his advantage. He's way ahead at the moment as it stands.
Exactly, we're going to switch back to the battle for P4 between Smeege, Matthias, and Nameless. So you're coming out of this long back straight, but I do want to mention on Polis's pace.
Ipioni, sorry to interrupt you, Ipioni getting the hairpin completely wrong there, trying to make a move on Songhon once again, and he's just completely got it wrong, and has lost almost a second now back to Songhon, unfortunately. Sorry to interrupt there, as we go back to the battle for 4th place. It's staying as it is at the moment. Matthias, Smeege, and Nameless all very, very close together.
Yeah, I was talking about Polis, and it just seems like, oh my goodness, Smeege losing the back end on the exit of turn 15. His car is on the inside. I don't think he was setting that up on purpose, because I saw his back end just kick out as the regular positions have returned as they fly through this multi-apex corner underneath the tower, sending up giant sprays of water. And actually seeing this race in person, some of that water does hit you. In the right parts of the track, the rooster tails will fly over the walls and actually hit you. And that was the S's.
So you get even more wetter than you currently are. Matthias and Smeege. Smeege having a look through turn 1, maybe. He's got a good run out of turn 1. He's going to go around the outside of the Red Bull as they go into the S's side by side. Matthias has to back off, and that's Smeege up into P4. Great driving.
That is a very risky way to go side by side through the S's. Now Matthias under pressure from Nameless. As I apologize for the screaming child in the background. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Matthias on the this under pressure from Nameless. Nameless looking for the smoother exit on Matthias. Matthias back end kicking out more than Nameless. But Nameless holding a longer drift. I believe that's... Oh, Nebula's out of the race. What has happened to Nebula?
Oh, Nebula's retired. I've just got back and just seen that. What happened there?
I don't know what happened there, but Nebula's out of this race, and now Nebula's trying for a position on Matthias. I thought we were going underneath the safety car, but Nebula's setting up the inside of Matthias on the exit of turn 16. And they're coming through this multi-apex corner. Nameless around the outside. Matthias on the inside. Nameless drifting it around. Can't hold it.
Nameless, as I say, still just trying to prove to everyone why he should be the Drivers' Champion here today. We've got safety car. Safety car's been deployed.
Max is also closing in on Nameless and Matthias. So it's not set for Nameless yet. But as we're underneath the safety car, do go into the pits. As Soren and Ipany are both saying yes, they're actually pretty much inside of each other. There goes.
Yeah, absolutely crazy stuff now. So it's a time now for the drivers just to chill out a little bit. Ipioni is in the pits, as is Soho, to put on another set of wet tyres to take you through to the end of the Grand Prix. So, very interesting. I have had a little bit of a check, and it is going to be rain throughout the entire Grand Prix. So that is something to bear in mind for these drivers. So they don't really have to think too much about weather changing. It's just when they pit on to these other soft tyres. We've seen Ipioni and Soren make the stop. We've not really seen anyone else make it yet.
Now, one thing. Is this rain going to get lighter throughout the race?
That I don't know. I have been told it's rain all race, but indeed, whether it's going to turn into intermediate style conditions, I'm not sure. Also, just bear in mind if any drivers get penalties under the safety car. It's pretty unlikely that they should, but it does happen sometimes.
Walker Christian once again going to the pits. After Nebula's crash, I'm actually surprised he got the safety car, but I did call that. It was coming out. Now, question, does Muller go into pits? Does Coles go into pits? Does Nameless risk his spot and go into the pits?
I would assume that most of them are going to dive into the pits because the leaders don't have any some teammates to worry about really. It's Mercedes, McLaren, Williams, Sauber, Red Bull, Ferrari. It's just Max and Ipioni, and Ipioni's already pitted. So we should see them diving in. Muller's diving in. Collis is diving in. Hypers is about to dive in. Collis gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. Speed just dived in. Matthias is diving in. Nameless is diving. Yeah, they're all diving in now. So all of the leaders, as I expected, are now diving into the pits. And we just have that one penalty from Collis. So interesting whether that's going to be a penalty that gets removed or not. I'm not sure. Muller has just reached.
This might push up Ipany's position on track just a tad bit.
He has to follow the delta still, so he's going to reach.
My entire point.
So yeah, now he's just crossed the line, but now everyone's exiting the pits, so he might get the jump on his teammate actually. Yeah. As you can see, Max is just exiting the pit lane. Oh, they're actually going side by side through turn one.
It says Ipany's ahead. I think Ipany got that position.
Ipany's jumped his teammate, but that's pretty much it. So just to
said over the radio to each other, it's like, what's going on?
So just to recap, Nameless needs P7 or higher to make sure that he wins the Drivers' Championship. At the moment, he is currently achieving that as he's sitting in 6th place. But it's all going to get crazy now, as Muller did have about a 7-second lead over the rest of the field. But now with that, with the safety car, it's going to change things a lot. I just want to see actually how much penalty Collis got. He's got a drive-through penalty now for speeding under the safety car.
And he can't serve that while under safety car. He has to serve that during the race.
Or his alternative is not to serve it and get punished at the end with a time penalty, which he may well end up doing.
You'll get disqualified.
Oh, would you?
Yeah.
Do you get disqualified for that?
You would get a 20-second time penalty.
So yeah, we'll have to see. Collis will have to serve that penalty, which is a bit of a shame if he doesn't think it's justified. But either way, we'll have to see how things go. The leaders now all catching up and starting to bunch up, as I'm not quite sure how long this safety car will be out for. Normally it's out for about 3 laps, so I'd give it another lap and then it should come in.
Yeah, it should. I'm gonna stay on board with Collis because he is the wet weather master we had in this league. As I think I just saw a car on the outside. Oh no, Collis can serve it right now.
Collis is serving his drive-through penalty. Oh, he's disqualified from the session. On my screen. Oh, he's got a fight. Yeah. This is straight. He's been disqualified from the race. Very straight. I'm going to see what happens. I'm currently on board with him.
The pit lane is shorter than the outside line. And the fact that he went on the inside into the pit lane, as his car is now stopped in the line. His car passed Moeller in safety car as he entered the pit lane, and that position wasn't returned before the pit lane. And that registered as making a pass and not returning it under safety car. And now Collis is out of the race.
Not just out, but disqualified from the race. So that's certainly going to be an interesting stewards' inquiry later on. I'm not quite sure what they're going to be able to do about that. And Collis has just popped up with a message that's understandably quite irate and not something that I can share with you on a stream, but understandably he's very annoyed at that.
Well, I can imagine it has a few words that starts with S, F, OMG.
Yeah.
Game.
Indeed. So the safety car should be coming in at the end of this lap. We'll see it for sure once it passes the, once it will pass shortly into the final sector of the lap. The drivers warming up their tyres, so maybe they're also expecting the safety car to be coming in at the end of this lap. We now have 10 drivers remaining, so you finish this race, you will score a point.
Speaking of finishing, Nameless up into P5 after that unfortunate retirement. I was holding Collis so high, and then that happened.
I think it's fair to say that's not entirely his fault. I think that's certainly...
It totally was not his fault, because...
Yeah.
Because I saw that happening. If I'm speechless from something, it's usually because I don't know what's going on.
That should not have happened. The safety car, interestingly, is not coming in at the end of this lap. I assume it's going to come in at the end of the next lap.
Well, that's because Collis is stopped in the pit lane.
Oh, is Collis still stopped in the pit lane? I can't go on to him.
Well, his car was stopped in the pit lane, now it just despawned, and I'm guessing the safety car has one more lap to go after that.
I would hope so. So, interestingly, I'm just having a look. Ivy's still struggling for fuel at the moment, which is very strange, as I would assume he would be saving fuel at this moment in the Grand Prix. But he's got the little yellow fuel symbol, which means he's just on fuel. So clearly not saving as much fuel. Maybe he wants to go on to an attack later on, but that seems a strange bit of tactical play, at least from my point of view.
I think he knows that he's on low fuel and he's just setting himself up, because with the wet weather, if you have a lot of fuel, you have a heavier car, and in the wet weather you're more like on the throttle and less flat out like usual, like your name says. But sometimes I think he's just expecting the fuel to even itself out near the end, but he would definitely be saving fuel right here, getting ready for that. So I'm guessing he's underfueled his car extremely.
I would assume so, yeah. Well, often when I like to, well, I don't like to, but when I race in the wet myself, obviously I'm not a racer of this quality, but I tend to put it onto low fuel mix when it's wet conditions, just to save a bit of reel spin and to save a bit of tyre wear, just to make the tyres last longer.
Yeah, and I think that might be a key here in this monsoon that Texas is currently getting. But, well, actually Texas gets hurricanes, and in this type of year that doesn't really happen, but in the regular type of the race, as the States car is heading in this lap, and we are getting ready to go green once more in the Lone Star States as they make their way through the arena, which is going to take like another minute.
Indeed, so very exciting stuff to see. Safety car in this lap. While we're here, let's take a look at the penalty count. So, of course, we have Marco Krisman with 3 seconds, who's not here anymore, of course. We have Via Salson with 3 seconds. Nameless, championship leader, has 3 seconds. That's going to make a massive impact now the field is close together. So we need to bear that in mind. The safety car is coming in, and we're about to resume racing here at the Circuit of the Americas in the Texas
Storm. Sideways!
There is a sideways Force India at the back of the field, but we are going back towards the
side by side of each other
of the race.
Going 3 wide down the front straight. Nameless might make this a 4-way party down into turn 1 as they go uphill. Who's going to break first? And
I can't see, there's cars ghosting everywhere. This is unbelievable. Smeej has now taken P2, Matthias P3, Hypers P4, Nameless P5. Nameless, I'm not even sure why he's getting involved in this. He needs to calm down. He's already got enough position to maintain that driver's title, but of course he does now have that 3-second penalty that he needs to bear in mind. So maybe that's why he's getting so close to these battles, and because he wants to just make up positions so he can try and get some clean air and shoot away like VSR Muller is now. He's already got 2 seconds on the rest of these guys, but we're going to have probably a similar 4-way battle. Hyper's having a look at Matthias into the corner. Now Nameless is going to dive it up there as well. Nameless going for P3 in the Ferrari. Looks like he might be able to get to P4.
Nameless
in the wall! Unbelievable scenes. Nameless now has no front wing. I said, why are you bothering? You don't need to make these kind of moves if you want to take the title today. And that has absolutely wrecked his chances. VP Max making a move. Ipioni's dropping down through the field to P6. VP Max up to P4, going side by side with ERL Hypers, who's also dropping down through the field now. He's battling for 4th with VP Max. The Force India, the Toro Rosso, goes straight up the inside and maintains that P4. So the original race leaders, aside from VSR Muller, are now starting to slip down through the field. We've only got to halfway in this race. This is absolutely mad. This is the place you want to be at the moment on your Sunday evening to watch some great AOR action.
You know how it was speechless in qualifying? I thought that would never be topped.
Now? Yeah.
That is just top that.
That is unbelievable. Nameless has just gone into the pits. So he's got a lot of time to make up to get even to that P7. He's going to need to rely on cars retiring, essentially, for him to get those points that he needs. And the field's starting to spread out a little bit now, once again. Now we're back to the original racing.
He was going for all or nothing. Like I was saying, he wanted to take the championship on a win, and he does not have his championship rival here today, but that gap is now going to be so close, and Nameless needs to be on a charge, and he's just wishing for a miracle from Soran, Marco Kurzman, and Mr. Anka for something to happen to all 3 of them. I hope he's not actually wishing that it might just take it on pace, but I don't see that happening.
I'm sorry, if it was for a championship, I'd be wishing something happens to them, to be perfectly honest. If it's for a driver's title, I'd be wishing something happened for them, the competitive human being that I am. Currently on board with VP Max in P4, who's having a look at Matthias as well. Remember, Max started near the back of the field, if I don't forget.
Max setting him up for P3. Matthias holding it around the outside, but in turn 60 is going to be Max holding him up, and that is P3 for Maxi Boy.
And that is because he started from the back of the field. So he's now got himself all the way up to P3. And Matthias there holding back Hypers
Max
for...
completely missing the corner. That's not the track, man.
No, it really isn't.
He definitely got a warning from that.
Mr. Anka picks up a 3-second time penalty. So that's not good for him. But Matthias and Hypers are getting pretty close to him. Not quite going to be able to make a move into turn 1, though the front wing of Hypers is very close to the back of that Red Bull of Matthias, his fellow ERL Esports member.
They go through these American S's. The spray is so hard, you can barely see the car in front of you. That blinking rain light is just so low on the cars, you really don't want to look down there, as thankfully in the 2019 cars, the lights are moved up to the wing, but look at the Hypers gaining so much on Matthias through there. Matthias can't handle his car through the rain. He might have some front wing damage as Hypers sending it on the inside. Matthias, Hypers complete. Look at that. Hypers.
That is, he's creating his own lines, and he's gone all the way back down to P7. You see, as I say, I said it before, Hypers tends to be a driver that drives on the edge of grip and sometimes ends up going beyond the edge of grip, and that's what he's done. That's not the first time he's done it this evening either, and that, you know, that strategy, whilst can be good in the dry conditions, sometimes will come back to bite you in the wet, and we're seeing it here.
Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. This isn't Back to the Future Hypers. You're at COTA.
Oh, he's diving up the inside though for P6, past Mr. Anchor.
Oh, they make contact.
A little bit of contact between the Red Bull and the Williams. There's no denying that ERL Hypers is fast. You can see it there. But sometimes he does tend to make mistakes, and now he's got to work back and try and correct his previous mistake there, unfortunately for him. Muller setting another fastest lap in the Grand Prix. I think he's practically set a fastest lap every lap so far. The kid has got a lot of space out there at the front of the field with now a gap of 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, Matthias, Mr. Anka, definitely not happy from Hypers. It looked like Hypers just let off the gas and let Mr. Anka hit him a little bit, to give him a little bit of love tap and a little bit of boost, because he didn't have a good exit out of turn 16. And there definitely was front wing contact, but I don't think any damage from Mr. Anka on to Hypers as he's making his way back up from P6.
Just riding on board, I can't see any damage on that Red Bull, but the battle for fourth looks like it might come into play in a minute. There, Nameless setting a much faster lap than what we've seen so far, getting in.
Pushing up to the 148. Nameless definitely on a tear as he's stuck in 10th, and he needs to get up to P7 to take the championship point, but I don't know, as hopefully Nick can get back into the session. And I'm streaming this one now. As Ipany is now battling through the arena. His wheels is trying to find any grip that he can as he's trying to chase down Matthias for P4. As everyone's kind of spread out, this is really the only battle on track. Hypers is also closing in on Ipany. They're going around this multi-apex corner. Look at that Toro Rosso battling with that Red Bull. At least it's actually following him, not really battling. No, and Hypers gets a 3-second time delay for extending turn 19 right in front of the Haas Hill crowd. And that is all 4 wheels off the track. That is 3 seconds added to his time. And that is not going to be very good for Hypers. Nick, you able to come back? I heard a little bit of conversation from Nick. I believe he is messaging me that he can't join back in, so I'm going to look at that. But as all of us, everyone's kind of separated a bit, but as soon as I say that, everyone's back again together. You guys are stuck with the American at Americas, so yay for you. Is there a massive train coming down this long back straight and into turn 12 of the arena? Ipany sits in P5. The battle for P4 is still alive. Hyper sits in P6 as everyone's eyes are on Nameless as he's just trying to push his car as fast as he can. Flows in on Soren. He is 26 seconds behind of Soren. That was 30 seconds a while back. And he is definitely on a tear. And he's hoping the magic can push him up. We're going to rejoin the fight of Ipany, Matthias, Hypers, and Mr. Anka. This massive train going on. Mr. Anka on 11-lap-old wet tires. As we have 10 laps to go here in Texas. It's getting crazy, man. Matthias taking a wider line outside of that turn 1, with Ipany falling close behind. They fly through these S's. Ipany is falling fallen behind just a little bit from Matthias. This is definitely race of the season material with the amount of shakeups we've had. As Nameless sets another fastest lap, definitely closing in. Another 2 seconds on Soren, 24 seconds on the Force India right there. We're going into the hairpin right now. Out of it, Ipany trying to find the better exit, but his car's scoring all over the place. He rode high on those curves, and that's definitely hurting him. Now flying down this back straight, trying to get any slipstream. No DRS for them, and I don't wait for any of this race. And this wet weather as that back end kicks out for Ipany. In the arena, we've seen Max and Soren make some great moves in here. Hyper's trying to find any way he can to get close to Ipany and Matthias and challenge for this lead. Or this battle, honestly. Let's go through this multi-apex corner. Down through turns 19. Just kind of in a little procession right now as 8 laps remain. Technically 9 laps remain here in COTA. On this front wing cam following Matthias. Ipany sending up looked up the inside, tried to sell him a W. He's getting extremely close to Matthias. Matthias taking a wider ace at the back end of Ipany kicking out. I can tell that by the amount of correction of his front wing and where his car is pointed. And with the little amounts of grip that you have around here, it is very hard to keep your car controlled. Oh, look at Matthias! I keep getting him confused. Hypers and Ipany getting extremely close. Hypers knows how to just connect those S's together, but everywhere else he's just been having so much problem. We saw him completely miss this apex a few laps ago, which sent him down to P7 right behind Mr. Inca. But that's been so disastrous for Hypers, as he was up there with Matthias battling with his ERL teammate. As we see Ipany looking up the inside once again, can't find anything on Matthias. Take enter turn 13 and the arena. Matthias taking a wider line than Ipany. All just trying to figure out where to go. Ipany's back end losing it. Hyper's gaining up just a tad bit as they go through this Dutch angle multi-apex corner. Really a very fun photo opportunity right there, just watching cars just zoom past you. Rolling around this final corner, another lap ticks down. 8 laps remain here in COTA. Moeller leads off, followed by Smeej, Max, Matthias, Ipany, Hypers, Mr. Inca, Marco Christmas, Soren, Nameless in P10, but he's now 18 seconds behind of Soren. He might be able to close in on Soren. He's been gaining around 4 seconds a lap on him. And if I'm any good at math, which I know I'm not, that would mean Matthias, Nameless has about 4 laps to go until he catches up with Soren, in theory. But can Nameless close in on Mr. Inca, who is in that coveted P7 spot, which he needs to gain the championship? I don't know, but it looks like Nameless might be on pace to close in on Mr. Inca. On board this team, we see Matthias flying by ahead of Ipany, get on board with Hypers. They go onto the brakes here. See that spray is just so hard. They're getting on the brakes super early, not wanting to risk anything on anyone as they enter the arena once more. all once again flying throughout this last corner, just trying to find any grip they can. As it's honestly a game of procession with these drivers who are just all following within a straight line. None of them really challenging each other for any position. They're just respectfully driving with each other. That might change in the closing laps as we're on board with Hypers flying through these S's. Oh no, Nameless picked up another 3-second time penalty. That is 6 seconds. Nameless pushing as hard as he can, but he's pushing too hard, getting time penalties left and right. We've seen that be very disastrous for him in championships. We've seen Hypers go once again off the track. And that is once again hurting Hypers, his chance of closing in on Hypeny. He's actually an entire second behind Hypeny, who has just been on a tear with Matthias through the field. Oh, on the brakes, Hypeny trying to go around the outside of Matthias. They were taking different lines to each other. And just everything that these guys are trying to get past each other is not working. The low amount of grip available here is just impossible for any of these guys to close in and get ready for each other. As they're coming around the final corner. My microphone has done some weird things right now. They're coming up. Phil. Matthias leads off Hypeny, who's followed by Hypers, who... These guys are just all separate by anything, but look at Max closing in on Smeege. Max might have a move for P2, and he is definitely faster than Smeege through here. As that gap has closed up so hard, and Max might be challenging for P2 and a better spot on the podium. Max has been all over the place today, but he's definitely been moving up. I believe he started last. Did he start last? Yes, he did. He is up 9 places. So after starting on the very back of the grid, VP Max is up into P3. Definite driver of the day material right here from VP Max. Smeege leading off Max through the arena right here. Trying to see any other battles happening on. Let's switch back and look at Nameless, who has followed. Close that gap up 13 seconds to Soren. Nameless just on a road of his own. You can see the track just much clearer to look at when you have no one around you. Leave at the front of that straight, you could see the very back of Soren right there. But as he enters the arena once more, that gap is falling down. He might be around 12 seconds behind of Soren as he finishes this lap. Hasn't set the fastest lap in a while though. So it might be... his pace might be going away, or those tires might be going away. As 4 laps remain here at COTA. Once again around the hairpin, Hypers is trying to find anything he can on Hypeny. As they fly through the S's, keeping the car light on the throttle. Hypeny up. There is the fast lap by Nameless. 147.872, the fastest guy on track by a mile. Muller does not have that pace there, as it's 11.6 seconds to Soren. They're going down this back straight. Hyper's getting hard on the throttle and just tilting his car on the inside. Backhand kicking out. Very, very disastrous for Hypers right there. It's just too hard on the throttle sometimes. And it's just small mistakes like that is why he's been unable to get back to his original spot. We're going to switch back up to Max and Smeege in the battle for P2. You guys flying around this multi-apex corner. Just trying to get as close to each other as they can. They go uphill once more. Max trying to find any way that he can on the inside of Smeege, but nothing that he can do. Oh, Hypeny gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And he's actually gained a ton of time on Hypers right there. I believe that might have been a very bad corner cut for Hypeny as Nameless has dropped down to underneath 10 seconds to Soren. And P9, we might have a battle for the championship very soon with 3 laps remaining here at COTA. They're flying around. Look at Max. He's trying to find any different line that he can to close in on Smeege. But it's nothing that he can do. He's just not having any grip helping him right there. The water is... I believe the water is going down just a tad bit. So the wet tires are in that gray zone where the intermediates are going. But also that goes for Smeege, who is... They're both on the same amount of laps of tire wear and everything. It's just, you see that dry line formed up so well right there as Max, big lockup going into turn 1 up on top of Phil. Very, very hair-raising moment by Max right there as he's going to try to close in on Smeege from this wonderful helicopter shot that we are getting. Go through turns 9 and 10. Nameless, another fastest lap. There's turn 9 to 10. Here's turn 9. There's turn 10. I got a bit confused there in my home track. Yay. Riding on board with Max as he flies down this long back straight, trying to sit in the back spray of Smeege and get as close as he can, but his car in this dirty air, he can't follow so closely in, needing all the downforce that he can get in this wet weather. Smeege back in the car that looks a bit swirly as he's going through turns 15 and 16. Massive amounts of spray popping up for Max as Nameless has closed down that gap to 4 seconds on Soren. As we enter the last 2 laps here in COTA, it doesn't seem that Nameless can get the championship. So I don't want to be that guy that starts calling it, but it might see that this fight is going to Mexico, ladies and gentlemen. As Smeege is leading Max through turns 8 right here up this hill into turn 9, right in front of the fans through the blind. Turn 9 right here and through the kink at 10. Hard on the brakes they go into the hairpin. We see Smeege just not having the best hairpin of all. As they go down this long back straight. Max is getting up there. Max might have a move coming up into the very last lap.
Max in the arena, just trying to close in on Smeege any way that he can. Dives it up the inside on Smeege. Nothing he can do. And when I say dive, he just really had a look. But like I said, nothing he can do right there, as the dirty air in those slow corners are just so harsh on tires and just everything. Moeller comes across the line right now. And that is the final lap here at Circuit of the Americas. On board with Max as they heading uphill for one last time. Hard on the brakes. Max does not lock it up, but he gains so much ground on Smeege right here. You can hear his engine revving. That's just the tires spinning up as much as he can. Smeege taking it very conservatively through these S's. Smeege very slow through there. Max closes up a massive gap through there. As they're now front wing to gearbox. Max sends it up the inside. They almost make contact. They're rubbing front. He's almost reached out and touch him with that front wing. As they go through turn 9, the crowds are going crazy right now. As they fly through turn 10 and heading in to the very last corner. Can Max close in on Smeege? Through here, I don't think so. And Soren gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And that is going to promote Nameless. No, it's not going to promote Nameless, because Nameless has 6 seconds of time penalties. I also believe Soren has 6 seconds of time penalties, so they're still battling it out for P9. As Smeege and Max are now battling still through the arena like they have been all race. Smeege is back and kicks out once more, but I think Smeege's got that. Nameless makes a move on Soren. And I believe we just saw Max trying to make a move on Smeege. They're side by side through here. But no. Oh, and Hypers also makes a move on Ipany through there, but Ipany holds it off, and we're going to go see Moeller comes across the line and takes the win here at COTA. And Smeege coming across the line right now. They have one corner to go. Smeege and Max. It's going to be Smeege taking P2. And Max taking P3. Matthias in P4. This gaggle of cars. Oh, Matthias! Hypers is in the wall. Hypers is in the wall at the very end. And so is Mr. Anka. He's also crashed in the wall. Marco Crispin, P8. Comes across the line right there. Let's avoid a few cars. And there is Nameless. P9. A very unfortunate race. And Soren must have spun somewhere, as he's so far behind. And that is Soren in P9. No championship is crowned today, as this race is now over. We go on to Mexico for another Grand Slam of a Grand Prix. Hopefully, this race has been very entertaining for everyone watching. It's certainly been very entertaining for me. As they spray the champagne, it is Moeller on top. And here are your results. It's Moeller taking the win, followed by Smeege, Max, Matthias, Ipany, Hypers, Mr. Inca, Marco Crispin, Nameless, Soren, Nebula, and Colas. What a race we had, and we're going to go into the interviews after these messages. Howdy, everyone. What a race we have just witnessed. I'm waiting for a few of the guys. Let's get Max in here and see what he wants. I am in C3, so let's bring him in. Max, how was that race for you?
It was pretty intense, but overall very, very good.
last to third is something to smile about, and you certainly had a massive race. How did that safety car come into play for you?
It was timed almost to perfection. I just missed the chance to pit as soon as it got brought out, and I ended up losing, I think, 1 place because I had to do an extra lap compared to the people behind me. But it brought me back into play with the front 3 that had got away, and obviously Collis got disqualified. And then after that, I just managed to work my way through and was just trying to catch Smeege at the end, but just couldn't get the move done. The dirty air in the wet made it so difficult to get close.
Yeah, you were following Smeege for the last few laps, and no moves were being able to make, and that was just going all over for all the other battles going on. And unfortunately, we do not have a championship crowned today, but that goes on into Mexico. Anything you want to say about that?
Looking forward to Mexico. Should have some more time to practice that race, so it's a track I've been quite good at in the past, so looking forward to maybe getting my first win of the season.
Alright, Smeege also joins us in the box. Smeege P2, how was that race?
That was... I didn't see it coming, put it that way. Wow, GG on the race, Max, for second place. That was incredibly close, but yeah. After like the run of form I've had, like driving and just not having any pace for the last few months, to get second place like that was just incredible. Incredible.
It certainly was a very incredible qualifying session, very incredible race, very incredible everything, and it very unpredictable in every single way, from championship contenders falling down to the very back of the grid, from mistakes to just safety cars just completely making everything mad. But there was one certainty, and that was Muller's dominance. Muller,
Hi.
was that easy for you? It looked easy.
No, I'm sweating a little bit because it felt very good, to be honest. So I'm happy.
You certainly seem very happy for that, as you definitely deserved that win. Anything you want to say about that race or any of the other guys you were driving with?
I don't know why the safety car came out, to be honest.
Nebula.
Because he retired.
Yeah.
Did he had a crash, or did he just go to the pit then?
I don't know of the exact. Okay, bye. I don't know the exact circumstances of what was happening, but it certainly brought up the field and back. So what were your thoughts when the safety car came out?
I wasn't really happy about it, because I had like 8 seconds to P2 before the safety car, so the whole gap was back to like half a second. So I was a little bit angry about that, but luckily I managed to put away after the safety car restart quite fast. Donald, I think one of the Red Bulls, when the safety car restart was, just dive bombed someone in the last corner. I'm not sure about it because I didn't saw it probably. So I don't know what happened there, but that was good for me because this little carnage behind me gave me like instant 1.9 seconds over Smeege. By the way, congrats. Yeah.
Alright, anything you guys want to say before we head into Mexico, where the championship fight continues to go on? We thought it was going to be crowned here, but it did not.
I don't know. We will see. I'm not in the championship fight, so...
Yeah, same.
I just wanted to see if you guys had any thoughts on it.
Yeah.
We'll be close, I guess. They're both quite fast guys, so we'll see.
Well, after this amazing Grand Prix here in the beautiful Austin, Texas, as it's showing as ee.uu, and I put in the wrong file. Congrats me. Yay. I was looking at my screen and it showed the track map saying ee.uu. Whoops. Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in. We're going to Mexico next week. My name's Austin Knight, and I hope You guys have a good night.